In the silence before conflict, the world often mistakes tension for stability. But beneath the surface, calculations are being made, missiles are being positioned, alliances are being tested. In the Middle East, a confrontation decades in the making is entering a new phase. At its center, Iran. Opposite it, the military power of the United States and the strategic resolve of Israel. Watching closely and calculating quietly are China and Russia. This is not just a regional crisis. It is a stress test for the global order. The fracture began in 1979. A revolution transformed Iran from an American ally into a defiant adversary. Decades of sanctions followed, proxy conflicts, assassinations, cyber warfare. Then, a fragile pause. In 2015, the world brokered the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, a deal meant to freeze Iran's nuclear ambitions, but diplomacy proved temporary. When Washington withdrew from the agreement in 2018, trust collapsed. Iran resumed enrichment. Israel intensified covert operations. The shadow war stepped into the light. For Iran, the nuclear program is more than technology. It is leverage, insurance, survival, surrounded by adversaries, sanctioned by the West. Tehran calculates that nuclear capability deters invasion. For the United States, the equation is different. Prevent weaponization, without triggering another endless war. For Israel, the margin for error is thinner. A nuclear-armed Iran is viewed not as a distant risk, but as an existential one. And so, the doctrine of preemption remains on the table. In the region, larger forces move quietly. China imports vast quantities of Iranian oil. Stability serves Beijing's economic engine. But a weakened American presence? That serves its long-term strategy. Russia sees opportunity in disruption. Higher oil prices, American distraction, strategic leverage. Yet neither power is eager to fight Washington directly. Their involvement is measured, calculated, indirect. A direct conflict would not resemble past invasions. It would begin in the air. Stealth bombers, precision strikes. It would unfold in cyberspace, power grids, financial systems, satellites. It would expand through proxies, Lebanon, Iraq, Yemen, and it would ripple through the global economy. Nearly 20% of the world's oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz. A blockade, even temporary, would send markets into shock. Inflation would surge. Energy prices would spike. The battlefield would extend far beyond the Middle East. The most likely outcome is not total war, but controlled hostility. Limited strikes, strategic ambiguity, calculated deterrence. But miscalculation remains the greatest risk. A single strike too far. A single intelligence error. A single decision made under pressure. History has turned on less. This confrontation is not only about uranium, it is about power, influence, energy, and the architecture of the international system. If escalation accelerates, the Middle East becomes the ignition point of a broader geopolitical shift. If deterrence holds, the world enters a prolonged era of strategic tension. Either way, the era of uncontested dominance is fading. The fault lines are visible, the alliances are adjusting, and the next decision, made in Tehran, Washington, or Jerusalem, may determine the balance of power for a generation.